8:01 on a Friday, the 13th. What? This whole weather thing makes perfect sense based on that. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week to chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Let's just take a live look outside. This is one of our traffic cameras this morning. This is the beach line near the Orlando International Airport. The roads are slick, and as is such, we need you to slow down. Do not drive like a knucklehead, people. It's one of those mornings where the weather absolutely is playing into things. Not only on the roads, by the way, but also in the air travel. I feel like it wouldn't be a day in 2023 if Orlando International Airport wasn't struggling in the weather or traffic world. Right now, the FAA reporting a 45-minute delay passing through Orlando International because the roughest weather is currently moving through that area, and it's obviously because of the thunderstorm. So delays are continuing to increase. Let's look at the big board over at Orlando International Airport right now. Currently, 13 delayed flights, but certainly that number more than likely will rise. So again, if that's the scene, it all makes sense. Let's come over to our first morning live Doppler radar and just see what's doing. Let me take you into the metro area. And look, I just drove through this. It's pouring. It is nasty weather, and it's in the heart of the metro area, pushing over toward the Space Coast. So from about New Smyrna Beach, Daytona Beach, Ponce Inlet, working down from there to Merritt Island, the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, soon to be Cocoa Beach, soon to be Patrick Space Force Base, soon to be Melbourne. All of this heavy rain is moving your direction. So let me stop the radar motion and let's just put a storm track on this. And Doppler radar is saying that all of this fun weather is moving at the nice brisk clip of 35 miles an hour. So let me put that into the computer. 30, 35. All right. And this is when the heavy rains are moving into your area, okay? We'll do that. Okay. Based on current timing, there you go. Port St. John, 8:18. St. Cloud, 8:32. Cocoa, 8:40. Rockledge, 9:04. Cocoa Beach at 9:46 and Melbourne at 9:58. That's not when the rain itself moves in. That's rather when the heavier rain moves in. Okay, at least it's not chilly temperatures with the rain. Here's a look at our live temperatures. The 5-minute obs are on the screen. The hourly obs are on the ticker on the bottom of the screen. So it's 53 right now in Orlando. That's interesting. 62 degrees in Daytona Beach and 60 in Ocala. So where do we go from here? Well, it's a wet, yucky morning. Here's a look at our 12-hour forecast, and we'll gradually taper the rains off. You can see in the bottom left corner, there's a cold front moving through. That cold front is responsible for the rain. And as it pushes the cooler, drier air in, we'll push all the rains out. By the way, through Coffee Talk today, if you're watching us, you'll be able to see the live radar in that bottom left corner. If you're catching up with us later, it will be from 8 o'clock in the morning, and I apologize, but at least you're going to get the good content. By the way, we do have Coffee Talks drive-through today. We do have Kelly. Producer Kelly's going to be joining us. But we do have the weather to get through, so we'll do that, and then we'll get to Kelly. And then we'll have Kelly do the weather, whether or not Kelly is prepared for these sorts of things. Okay, temperatures this afternoon are going to be cooler, okay? The high temperatures are like now-ish, and then once the front moves through, we will start to drop those temperatures through the day, all right? So this afternoon, 60s, and then falling into tonight, okay? Again, let's just look again at that 12-hour forecast. Now look at the temps, right? We'll get to about 67, and then we're going to quickly drop things off from there. So let's do this. Let's look at Futurecast. And if you joined us yesterday for the drive-through, or excuse me, for the Coffee Talk afternoon update, you know I was struggling with the computer. Let me tell you what happened. I have to find this, and while I'm doing this, you don't need to see a big gray screen. So there's a problem, I guess, with the electrical system at the station. It's the building's a couple of years old. So anyway, they were switching over to the generator just to make sure that it was good. Guess what? It wasn't good. So the computer all restarted. And while doing that, my workspace went corrupt. And I'll pull it out of the backup. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So eventually I will pull it out of the backup. Life will be good. But for now, I'm just kind of limping along here. Sidebar, the generator fallover didn't work. Like, the entire television station lost power just before newscast time. Maybe you were watching and you noticed you're like watching Tamron Hall or Kelly Clarkson. All of a sudden it's like, no wesh. And then they put the dreaded trouble slate up. The trouble slate, which is like, please stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties. That doesn't happen very often in today's day and age. But yesterday, you got it. Good times. So at any rate, we limped along on Coffee Talk having no idea what the problem was. Now we know. Apparently the entire television station was limping along yesterday. All right, so here's Futurecast. And may I also add, in reference to Futurecast, it got it right. Like the global models were saying, by noon it'll be getting into Orlando, and by the afternoon it'll be clearing out. Futurecast, check one for the Kipper. It was doing it. So anyway, Futurecast, here we are. You can see 8:39, 10 o'clock, it's pushing out. Now, Brevard, 10 o'clock is going to be crummy, right? Then 11, 12 o'clock, it's clear. And from there on out, it's clear. Like, it's clear. Did I say it? It's clear. Look at these temperatures this weekend. Tomorrow morning, we'll be waking up to, what? 39 degrees. 39 degrees in Orlando. Windows open, heated blankets. Oh my God, let's all freak out. And then Sunday morning, 35 degrees. What do we do? It's not the coldest air of the season, right? But like, it's chilly. So let's talk about temperatures neighborhood by neighborhood for the weekend, okay? Let's start with tomorrow morning. Yikes. 39 in Orlando, 37 degrees in Leesburg, 34 in Ocala, just above freezing. But the suburbs very well may get below freezing, Citra, Anthony, Reddick, those sorts of things. Over to Brevard County, even you, my friends, are going to be in the 30s. Yowza. All right, tomorrow's high temperatures. It's not as cold as Christmas, where we had a high temperature of 46, but 50s for high temperatures. All right, Sunday morning, if I could type it correctly, this is going to be the coldest morning of this cold stretch. 35 in Orlando, 33 in Leesburg, 36 Daytona Beach, and look to Ocala. 30. Do I think we'll get some 20s in Marion County? Yup, I do. Will we be using all of our temperature sensors from around Central Florida? Yup, we will. Yeah, so, And then Sunday afternoon, we start a bit of a trend warmer, 50s and 60s. That looks a little better. And then looking ahead to Martin Luther King Jr. Day, it is Monday, I believe it's a federal holiday, back into the 70s for temperatures, so that's going to be looking better. And then, continuing on, Central Florida's certified most accurate 7-day forecast, showing those temperatures continuing to warm Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Love that for us. Oh, let me take the box off. There we go. But yeah, Saturday and Sunday designated as impact days because of those chilly temperatures in the morning. Now, there's probably going to be gusty winds Saturday morning, so we're not anticipating much of a frost event Saturday morning. But by Sunday morning, as those winds go colder and calmer, oh yeah, frost by Sunday morning, absolutely the case. Okay, that's a quick check of the weather. Any questions, comments, concerns before we move on to the next fun thing? Anything? Looks like warm weather for the dog show in Brooksville next weekend. Yeah, next weekend's going to be a little different. Marie says listening mode only. Very good. Annie says Thursday, 80 degrees. Yeah, that's correct. Hey, what's the weather and possibility of the Falcon Heavy tomorrow? So, truth be told, I actually think that the Falcon Heavy forecast looks really good. The winds are going to be the concern, both at the surface and at the upper levels of the atmosphere. All right. But yeah, I think it's going to look good. I think if there was any possible way that I could get out there, if I could tell Jeannie, like, hey, I got to work, LOL, I would do that. Taylor says train is going to derail. All aboard the Hot Mess Express. That's right. That's because for the first time in a long time, we have a guest. That's Kelly, producer Kelly, with her meh mug. Kelly enjoys Coffee Talk. I don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I could tell you I've known Kelly for quite a while. I adore Kelly, one of my dearest friends. And now here we are. You are on the Coffee Talk drive-thru. First off, good morning.
After many, many years of asking you, I finally am on Coffee Talk. Yay!
Yes, you are. So Kelly is a former Wesher. Kelly produced many a newscast, went through many a severe weather event, and now drinks many a cup of coffee. Kelly has fueled my coffee habit so much, and my mug at the office is a gift from Kelly. So first off, good morning, Kelly. Thank you for joining us for the Coffee Talk drive-thru.
Can I just go back to your comment that you made about the window open with the heated blanket?
Yes, ma'am.
I feel personally attacked by this.
Yeah.
Because I know you made that comment about me. Because if anyone knows me, I do not turn my heat on. I don't turn my air conditioning on unless if I have to.
Understood.
So my window is open and I will freeze. So I will have my heated blanket, my weighted blanket, another blanket, and then all of my comforter and everything before I will turn the heat on. I felt like that comment was attacked.
It was. That was no accident. So first off, tell everybody who you are and how you ended up in this mess of a Coffee Talk world.
How did I end up in the coffee? Oh, gosh. That was me bugging you a million times to do it.
Well, yes, but how did you end? All right, so tell us who you are. Explain to us. Yes,
I just happen to pop in the chat all the time and just make sarcastic comments.
Yes.
So I was a producer for when did I start producing? I have to think about this now. Math is not my forte. Science is not my forte. I started producing in 2014, but I was an anchor reporter from 2013 to 2014. Yep. So I've been in television for about 10 years. I just recently shifted into a new role. So now I'm in corporate communications. So I'm away from the TV life and have a normal 9-to-5 job. But I brought props.
But
I always still think of my favorite people.
Jim Payne.
Oh, wait, that was a little blurry. Sorry. That's I have my heroes here, and then I have the hero of the weather department, Mr. Tony. Oh, did I freeze?
Oh, yeah, you did, but you're good now. Look at Tony.
Okay. Mr. Tony, and then I have this lovely gem here who looks like a pirate, apparently.
This is hilarious. And your video is freezing, dag nabbit. Oh, there. Oh, yeah, that's
freezing?
Me. Yeah, that's me.
It's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes, so...
Oh, boy.
That is that. But I actually had Jim's picture on my desk for a very long time, just as because Jim was my desk neighbor.
Okay. Yes. So you did the evening newscasts.
Eventually I started. Gosh, what did I start on? I started, I think, doing the noon for a while.
Yeah.
Then I was on the sunrise shift for a while.
Yep.
Then okay. So my background in television. I first moved to Joplin, Missouri, and that was when I was an anchor reporter.
Right.
Then moved back to my hometown in Johnstown, Pennsylvania as a producer, and then moved back to the Midwest. I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, because that was a company transfer. So that was just like a little bit of a step up for me.
Right.
Went to Tulsa, and then I came here to Orlando because my friend from college worked at Wesh as a photographer, and he was like, "Oh, we have a producer position open if you're interested." So I was like, "You know what? Florida's always been on my list."
Yeah.
And so that's how I ended up here. But it was a huge transition because I went from a morning show producer in Tulsa to a night. I started with the 10 o'clock show, and then they kind of transitioned me back and forth, and then I ended up on the weekend morning shift with you.
Yes, and we we went through death and life together.
I didn't like you at first.
Not many people do.
No, you were a prick.
Debbie points out, Eric.
I can't see the comments, so I'm sorry if I don't answer.
No, you're fine. Well, I'm going to help. So Debbie says, Eric, notice you're not framed.
No, I ran out of picture frames.
I love it.
I did run out of picture frames.
Nari says hello.
I miss her.
Another former Wesher. Oh my gosh, I love it. Let's see here. Karen says, I have only one blanket and still have the fan on in my bedroom here in Vermont. Oh my God. Yeah, that's
See, people don't like to use the heat. It costs money.
I agree with that. Look, I agree with that.
Was my internet freezing? I don't know why it's doing that.
Oh man.
Usually I don't have problems with that.
Chris says, Kelly is going to start the weather forecast and I'm going to cut her off. Why? Because she always would do that to me when she was in producer mode?
I would. My favorite thing to do to you and Tony would be like, you guys would do the forecast, and then I would end up saying, wait a minute, what was it doing it tomorrow? I literally would not pay attention to anything that you guys were talking about, and then I'd be like, Tony, what's the forecast? Eric, what's it doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
That's how it went.
So tell everybody what it was like to produce at Wesh, like handling the pain in the neck weather folks like Tony and myself.
Oh my gosh, you guys were not a pain in the neck. First of all, you guys were not a pain in the neck. You guys stayed in your own little territory. Producing is very, and when I say this, I don't mean it in a negative way. It's very tedious work. And it's a lot of things people probably don't realize with producing is that everything you see on the TV is basically a responsibility of a producer.
Right.
Which story is going in which order. If there's a lower third graphic, like you see my name banner on the bottom there, we're responsible for that. And it all is about timing. You have to make sure that you have to go into commercial breaks at a certain time. You have to go into your weather forecast at a certain time.
Right.
So it's a very meticulous and detailed job.
It is.
And it's one of those things where everything can change in a minute's notice. You might have a live reporter who, like me, has crappy internet, and you're like, oh my gosh, they just froze. You have to move their story down at a moment's notice, reorganize everything. So you're constantly moving, but it's a good thing. Like, it's almost like an adrenaline rush a little bit every time you do a show. But no day is ever the same with it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Taylor's making fun of stayed in your territory, aka your cage. This is true. I try to hang in that weather department.
Except I go over, usually towards the end of my time at Wesh, I would go over, like, come into work a half hour early and then just go talk to you for like a half hour.
But it's
you're so early because I'm bugging Eric. That's what I do.
No, it's fine. And you make friends that will survive through job change. And if your friends are like, you and Jim were always so very close, and I don't think that's ended.
No, I told him that I was going to be on here today, so I hope he's watching. He probably isn't. But
does Jim have Facebook? I know he does because he posts the memes and the things.
Where do you think? I was going to say, where do you think I get my memes from?
That's true. Jim. That's true.
Although I will send him some good ones from time to time. If I see a good one, I'll send it to him.
Absolutely. Do you? All right. So everybody joining us, does anybody have any questions for Kelly? Everybody wants you to talk smack and all of that fun stuff.
Oh, okay. So let's talk. I can go off on UCF for you for a long time.
Yeah, Kelly. Kelly is the absolute.
I hate UCF. No offense to any UCF fans. I don't. No, I don't get that hype.
Well, and especially when Pitt just took UCF to town.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly being a Pittsburgh, not a Pittsburgh, but a Pennsylvania product.
Yes. So I have a product of near Pittsburgh. If anyone wants any clueless history, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, known for the 1889 flood. Weather history. There you go. That's the only thing my hometown is really known for. But we're close to Pittsburgh, so I am a Pittsburgh sports devotee. So I will say, I used to talk smack on you about being a Bucs fan because everyone joined the bandwagon of the Buccaneers whenever Tom Brady came in. And I was like, oh, no. I got respect for the OG fans of the Bucs when they were really bad. I have respect for the Jaguars fans when they were really bad. I know what it's like. I'm a Pirates fan. We suck at baseball, and we are going to keep sucking for a long time.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But UCF. No, I will never cheer for UCF.
And I understand. Look, I understand.
My favorite thing to text you is I take the initials of UCF and I make, usually my favorite one is your championship's fake.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
I mean, it's all marketing. All right. So a couple of questions here. First one, Nari's asking, and I have a feeling Nari has to know the answer to this. Which Met blows their time cues the most?
Tony.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Tony.
I'll watch Tony. I'll be like,
Tony.
Was that Tony's time cue there a minute ago? Okay. All right. Next question.
I love him for it, though.
Yeah. I mean, Tony's not here to defend himself.
You were usually pretty good, except for that one random time that you went like a minute under, and I had no idea why. And then none of us in the control room knew why you did that.
Yeah. What I tell all the producers is whatever time you want me to hit, set it 10 seconds under, because I'm going to blow it by 10 seconds. So just build that into the clock and we're good.
You weren't that bad.
You're just saying that because you're on here. Taylor wants to know some embarrassing work stories.
Embarrassing involving me, because there's like a million of those.
And you, weather.
Okay. So can I tell the Jim Payne story about when I made him try Bang Energy? Because that's a fantastic.
When you
story.
Made him what? Oh, a drink? Oh God.
So Jim used to make fun of me all the time with drinks that I would bring in. And when I say that, I would come in usually with like Starbucks or something, but for a while I was on a smoothie kick, and I would go, because I was trying to eat healthier or whatnot, and I'm a super picky eater. So I was bringing in these drinks, and sometimes they would be like really colorful. And he was like, what kind of foo-foo drink do you have there? So everything was a foo-foo drink. And then I had energy drinks. Like, I was an energy drink queen. You could find them in my desk drawer and everything. I have them everywhere. And one day I made Jim Payne try Bang energy drink. And the look on his face was just, he was like, never again.
Yeah.
Never again. And I still say, every time I'm like, you want an energy drink? And he's like, he looks at me like.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Mickey over on YouTube is asking, how stressful are severe weather events or tropical events for a producer?
So they're stressful preparing for them, because you don't really know what to expect going into them. But whenever you're actually in them, like whether it's a hurricane, whether it's tornadoes, whatever, you guys mostly take the reins on that, and we just kind of let you go. So in that moment, you don't really have the time to think about it.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, you're like, oh my gosh, I was so stressed about that. But you don't, in that moment during the severe weather event, you don't really have the time to think about it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I
think any weather event, even just like in my new role, any weather event going into it, especially with the hurricanes, is stressful.
Yeah. So there was the question. Jeannie Rowan asks, what does Kelly do now that you've left WESH?
So I am now in an internal communications role for one of the hospitals around here. So I work in Volusia County. And let me just say, how many times people ask me if I know you?
Oh, geez.
The two most common questions I get in my new role, like when I tell people, I usually just try to tell people I have a TV background. And if they ask about it, I'll usually just tell them like, oh yeah, I worked at WESH, whatever. Yeah. Anytime I bring that up, the first two questions are, do you know Claire Metz? And
the mayor of Volusia County.
I love watching Eric Burris. That's the two things that I get all the time.
Oh, geez.
Everyone asks that, is because they always ask about Claire, because Claire knows every nook and cranny in Volusia County.
She does.
And she knows everyone in Volusia County. Like, people I've met at the hospital know her.
Yeah.
So it's so funny. And then they ask about you. And I'm like, yeah, he's okay.
I don't know that
He's all right.
I don't even know what to say to that. So, well, thank you. Everybody wants you to make fun of me and share just the silliest stories from work. So Kelly had a list of things that I said.
I can't find it.
Thank God.
I can't find it. I don't know what I did with it. So I had a list of stupid things you would say during the weekend morning newscast. Because let me tell you, for people who don't know you behind the scenes, when I was your weekend morning producer, our camera crew, like, let me just say, the weekend morning crew, like, even with Christina now, I only worked with her a handful of times before I left. Everyone on the weekend crew is so fantastic. From the directors, even back into the master control, like, everyone is so kind and so funny, and everyone has so much personality, which is great.
It's so funny, Kelly, because it's like weekend mornings, you're in this bubble, right? And I just feel like no matter what staffing changes happen, for some reason, this bubble always does get truly dear people.
Well, I almost didn't even get in the bubble with you because I couldn't stand you for a while.
Oh my God.
I thought you were so... Okay, so my first impression of you, since people want me to make fun of you, I thought that you were, being honest, I thought you were a prick. I was like, this guy is telling me in my ear, I need to check on this. I need to check on this. So in the morning shift, you don't have a person who is on your main desk. So if people would call the station, I wouldn't be able to answer it because I'm in a completely different room. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is this guy micromanaging me? Why is he micromanaging me? I was getting so annoyed. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy thinks he knows everything. He thinks he knows everything. And then I don't even think it was till about 2019, like pre-COVID, that when you were working from home, and truthfully, whenever you were working from home, I was using a bunch of Snapchat filters on you to make you turn into a cat, which is really
God.
I think that's when I started sending them to you, and I was like, all right, Eric's okay. Like, Eric has a personality like me, so now I know what I'm working with here. And that's how our friendship evolved.
I think
Snapchat filters of you looking like a cat.
Yeah, well, and you would text me.
That is exactly how it was.
Said Snapchat filters. You know what it is though? Is I just think that in the news business when it's newscast time, and you know that, right? Like, we've got stuff that we're doing, and in those moments, there's not like that opportunity. Like for example, if you need me to be somewhere, it's like, Burris, go to the desk. It's not like, hey, can you do? It's like, I need you to do this now. And
you don't have the box anymore.
Well, yeah, I know now.
I used to make fun of your box.
Now I have to stand short.
You're not short in the first place.
I'm 5 feet.
I'm
8
short.
inches.
You had a box. He had a box, and literally everyone made fun of him.
Yeah. So I had to get Kelly to warm up to me.
And we did. And look at where we're at now.
Taylor's making fun because you said choice language. LOL.
I did. We have to keep it appropriate on Coffee Talk.
Let's see here.
But yeah, so that was. But it wasn't until the Snapchat film that I was kind of like, all right, Eric's okay. I get his personality now.
Yeah. Well, and I think that some people instant, some people you just gonna have to warm up to each other. But yes,
it's so funny because when I started at Wesh, I don't know why you have a terrible memory. I have a really good memory.
I have a terrible memory.
And I remember the most random things.
Yeah.
So when I started at Wesh, or like when I knew I got the job at Wesh, I started like following the talent and everything. And you were one of the first people that followed me back. Mm-hmm. But you never said hi in the newsroom. And I think the first time I had any interaction with you was whenever you and Jeannie announced your pregnancy.
Right.
And you had the cute little picture where it was like expecting our first little storm. And I was like, oh, Eric, that was a really cute announcement. And you just looked at me weird, like, who are you? You had no idea. You had absolutely no idea who I was. I know for a fact you didn't, because the look on your face was just like, who is this?
Well,
sitting here, so she's employed here, clearly. But
right, but
you had no idea.
To be honest, it was probably an off shift, and I was half asleep, and I didn't know how to honestly be like, I don't know who you are, because there are.
You
I know. Well, this is true.
Like, I don't know who you are.
This is true. There are times where we'll have like, new people coming in, and then you're just like, for me, I've been there for so long, like I'm embarrassed that I never met new producer, new associate producer, that sort of thing. And then, so I'm an awkward person in nature. Kelly, you know this by now.
So am I.
So I'm always like,
things I would walk in and just say to people, I was like, oh, well, I did this today. And Jim looked at me like, what?
But there are times where I'll be like, hey, I don't know you. And then that person will be like, actually, we met a month ago. And I'm like,
well, that's on you.
Correct. And me having a terrible memory absolutely plays into this.
Oh yeah, I do remind you a couple. I was like, I do remind you pretty frequently. I'm like, don't you remember when I said that? And you're like, no.
Over the
But,
years, you have
but
learned.
let's go back to the list. I called it the 2020 list of Eric Burrisms.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a great name.
yeah.
And then I can't. I'm trying to remember what was on this list that always, and like I would write it down for which show, because you didn't always work on the morning show.
Right.
Sometimes
I'm all over
the
place. Right.
Sometimes it would be at like the 10 o'clock show. I remember the 10 o'clock show. I was making fun of you for saying "cover your horses," and you say that quite a bit.
It was like.
I was like, it was just funny because I never heard you say it before. I was like, what is he talking about? And then I realized I'm like, okay, he's covering the horse. Like whenever we talk about Ocala being cold, and I was like, now it makes sense. I get it. And then you talked about the Floby the one time, and you literally sent the control room into like a fit of laughter because everyone's like, okay, he's a millennial, but he knows about a Floby.
Well,
and then I really wanted to see the Floby, and I never got to see it.
I have a video of the Floby. So,
like, is it a commercial video? Because that's not I wanted to actually physically see
it's me doing the Floby. Yeah.
That was what everything was close.
The comments are everybody loving you roasting me, by the way, just so that you know.
Oh, what was the other one? The one that you said you and our floor director, which Matt's not there anymore, is he?
He's not. No, he's over at Universal full time. Yeah.
You two would go back and forth with each other, and it was hilarious. Like the two of you would just like insult each other to points where I couldn't even reach it. I was like, "This is fantastic." One day you shouted out a comment to Matt, and it made no sense.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Keep it.
No. It was clean. It said something like, "You're like." Duct tape does a better job than you because it sticks." And I was like, this makes no sense, but it was so funny at the time. And I was like, it made, and then you and Matt were talking one time about a Rolodex, and you had no idea what a Rolodex was, or someone had no idea.
He had no idea what a Rolodex was.
Yeah, it was something about a Rolodex.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, no one has it. I was like, this is just hilarious.
Yeah.
So, and then I had a list for 2021, but I cannot find that list, and I know I saved it because it was in my personal folder at Wesh, and I don't know where it went.
So, my love language is teasing. For those that don't know, and so Matt and I, for whatever reason, Matt, sweetest guy, but he and I Sonica and I have the same thing where we will just beat each other up in the most playful way. Yes, you two were
funny when she filled in on the mornings.
And it's like and so Matt, Sonica, and I were whenever we would work, any of us, we would just beat the snot out of each other. So, and I don't know if this was one of your shows or not, Kelly, but one day, Matt and I were in the studio first, and Sonica was solo anchoring the noon. Oh my God, my face is hurting because I'm smiling so much.
Good.
Matt and I decided...
At least I didn't punch your face.
Instead of beating the snot out of each other, let's just be nice to each other overtly. And then when Sonica walks in,
awkward.
We'll do that. And it threw Sonica off so much on the newscast because we were like, Sonica... You read that story with such grace, and it threw her, like, you could just see, she's like, what is happening right now?
I love it. So Matt and Sonica, when I worked on the weekend night shift, Matt was notorious for finding riddles, and like, we were doing Hangman for a while, like little games, because he had like a little white, like dry erase board.
Yeah.
And he would do that. And Matt had the best riddles. And it was just like, I remember our director, we were always trying to figure it out. We were sitting there trying to figure it out. But then Matt got shifted to a different shift. And then it was like, you two.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. It was like, it's all out of love. It was 100% out of love, but it was just funny.
Taylor says, I love that there's pretty much confirmation Eric keeps it PG just because he's on the air.
I think we all kind of do in general. For the most part.
Ooh. Listen. What are you gonna do? Okay, so let's see here.
We keep it PG.
We do.
My mug says nah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I heard it the wrong way.
You can see Karen is baiting the hook here, saying you're a millennial because you had mentioned
you totally are a millennial. You try not to be, but you are. I really just want to see these Jinko jeans again.
I don't know. I used to have the chain, the wallet.
I scoured your Facebook the other day trying to find it. And
it's before Facebook. Yeah.
Did you have like long hair?
No. My hair. Well, I always My hair was always I mean, it was a little. I had the bowl cut though.
Didn't you show me a picture at one point that you had like spiked, like frosted highlights?
Yeah, in college.
Bring
Yeah,
that
I
look
definitely
back.
did. I definitely did.
You should bring that look back.
Our image consultant absolutely is not all about that. Kenneth
I
says,
mean, the 90s are making a comeback. You
Listen,
wouldn't know because you're in the 80s, but you're still a millennial.
well, when I got my new suits, I wanted bigger because I have thick calves. And the guy was like, we can't do that unless we make them bell bottoms. You just have an awkward body. Okay.
Well, welcome to my life. I have an awkward body.
Hey, we all have awkward bodies, right? Laura says we need to see a picture with you in a bowl cut. Oh, yeah. That's easy.
Yeah, can we find that?
So let's see. Any other questions? Any other questions for Kelly? Did I have the dog? Did I have the? I did not have the dog collar.
Speaking of dogs, you took away my associate pup producer, and I was very mad about that.
When Kelly would do the weekend morning show, I would bring Stella into the television station all the time, and Stella would hang.
He was my associate pup producer.
Yeah, I've shut the door. She's not in the office because she'd be running around and garnering my attention the entire time. So,
no.
Yeah. Any other questions for Kelly? Anybody?
Please ask me questions. Ask me random questions too. I'll try to answer as many random questions.
Kelly,
I can't see the comments, so that's why.
Well, and I'll definitely pass them along. Kelly, it's time for you though. You are going to have to do the weather.
You know, the last time I did the weather was I was a blonde.
All right. Well, here we are. So why don't you start with the radar? We'll do radar, temps, and 7 days.
Okay, it's raining.
That's all you got?
It's gonna rain. Well, it's not raining in Orlando anymore. That's a good thing.
Right. So there's radar.
If you're out on the west side, it's not. If you're out heading east, it's gonna rain.
All right. Let's do temperatures.
You're gonna get a free car wash, unless if you're driving on the highway, then you're not getting a free car wash. The fact that you said in a tweet this morning that 53 was comfy. I don't know what planet you're on. It's cold.
I mean, I had long sleeves. Temperatures, ma'am. Go ahead.
Have long sleeves on, do you?
Temperatures.
It's 50 in Orlando, 63 in Kissimmee, 60 in St. Cloud, 60 in Titusville, New Smyrna. You went back to the radar.
Within an hour.
Oh, okay. This one will be fun. The rain is going to clear out, and it's still going to be cold. Tomorrow, don't even leave your bed. It's going to be cold. Get that heated blanket out. It's going to be cold. Like, don't do anything. It's going to be nice outside, but it's going to be cold. And we don't like cold. Floridians don't like cold. That's why people move north. Yeah, Sunday. What? I
don't even know. I think I got confused.
And then it gets back to normal in Florida weather because that's what we do here in Florida. We're in our 2 weeks of cold spell, and then we'll get back to normal.
80.
How was that?
It was great. 80 degrees by next week. It was great.
Gosh, you should see me try to attempt weather on a green screen once. It was really bad at Wesh. That was pretty bad.
No.
I was like pointing. I'm like, where am I pointing?
Karen's laughing. Don't even leave your bed.
I'm not tomorrow. What do you think I'm doing tomorrow? I'm not leaving my bed. I was going to go running on Sunday, and I'm like, no.
Tom said Kelly is an absolute riot. What a treat. See, Kelly? The people love you. Brian's asking, Kelly, which hospital do you work at in Volusia County, and do you ever know or get to work with WESH 2 former chief medical expert Dr. Todd Husty? He's Seminole County, right?
Yeah, Todd Husty is Seminole County. I actually work at Advent Health, so I work at Fish Memorial in DeLand.
Yeah.
But I don't get to. I haven't talked to Todd Husty in a while, but he was great to work with whenever we did talk at WESH. Yeah. He was great.
I remember when he did the 5:30. I remember when he was on every day at WESH. Forever ago. All right, Miss Kelly, thank you for hanging. See, you did it. How was? I
did it! Yay!
Was it? Was
I that embarrassing to you?
Not at all. I mean, there were definitely those like, oh boy. And
I wasn't that bad.
And then the colorful language. I'm like, burr, 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 burr.
I did not use any. There was no actually in that list of Eric Barsons. There was no colorful language.
Sabir says,
I remember that. I was like, no, there's none.
Sabir says you need to be on once a month. I think the people love you.
I'll be on once a month. I'll talk about whatever you want me to talk about. I'll just complain that it's cold.
That works.
I'm still not going to turn my heat on.
No, I understand that.
Because my electric bill does not get above $100, and I will not. And I make sure that that does not happen.
Yeah. And then you yell at me when it gets too cold out.
I do yell at you when it gets It's too
All
hot
right.
out.
Well, Kelly, thank you very much for hanging out with us this morning. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, anytime. Anytime.
Such a dear.
Finish up.
Bye, my dear. Such a dear. All right, so there you go, people. There you go. The Coffee Talk drive-through complete with Miss Kelly. Good gravy. You gotta love her. All right, one last check of the radar before we go, my friends. And yes, we do have rain still on there. Yep. Brevard County, it's about to pick up. Let's zoom in just a little bit, see what's doing on there. The heavier stuff, the yellows and the reds, about to show up around Port St. John, Mims, Titusville, and eventually working down the county. All right? Sound good? Sound good. All right, that's it. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk and the Coffee Talk drive-through. We'll open up that little web page so that you could put your name and all that fun stuff in there, and maybe you can join us on the drive-through next week. Sound good? Gotta love Kelly. Honestly, miss Kelly working with us at the station. But listen, if Kelly gets to do things that help people directly, you gotta love that. So anyway, thank you so much, y'all. We'll talk to you.